I made 137 USD by selling a put options all in 1 week. I've been following some influencers on some of the strategies they shared about investment. And one of the things that caught my attention was to sell options. Apparently, you are able to earn either weekly or monthly income if you sold options. So I thought it was interesting, very compelling reasons, and I decided to experiment on it. But I want to document my experiment publicly and share with you guys. My name is Desmond. I am not what you would call a savvy investor, but I've been passively investing for at least 10 years. Initially, I went with the banks, but since around 2022, I've invested on my own. I've moved away from the banks, and my portfolio is mainly on ETFs. I do have some bonds like Singapore Saving Bonds or T-bills. So that is generally what I've been investing into. And to be honest, going it on my own, I think was way better than going with the banks. And so now, like I said, I'm going to test out on selling options. So why options? To be really honest with you, it's because I could collect cash immediately. Each time you sold an option, the cash will go into your account almost immediately. And you could withdraw it, you can use it immediately. So it's cold, hard cash. And right at the onset, I realized that greed was probably the main reasons. So I need to be very careful because while it's easy to sell options to earn that premium, the risk is very real when you get assigned or called away. So what is options? Now, I'm not going to teach you what options is. There's already a lot of videos, a lot of articles online, so you can go and research about it. But I think a very quick introduction will be useful for those who may not be familiar what options is. You could sell a put options where they have the options to sell their stocks to me, or you could sell a call options where they have the options to buy the stocks from me. Now, there's a second part to selling options, and that is there is a strike price. So let's take the example of selling a put options. Suppose you take the shares of Nvidia, and let's say Nvidia's price now is at $200. I would sell a put option at, let's say, $190. That means the other party has the option to sell their Nvidia shares to me at $190. Now, of course, they wouldn't do that because now the market price is $200. They would rather sell the Nvidia shares on the market. But suppose the price of Nvidia drops to $180. Now, that is when they would want to exercise the options to sell me their Nvidia shares at $190 per share. Because if they sold it at market rate, it will only be at $180. So that's put options. Call options is essentially the reverse, where now they have the options to buy my 100 Nvidia shares. So let's go back to the example of Nvidia. Suppose the price again is at $200. I would sell a call option at a strike price of $210. Now that means the other party can buy Nvidia shares off the market at $200 right now. But suppose the price shoots past $210. Suppose the price now is at $215. Then the other party will exercise their options to buy 100 Nvidia shares from me at $210 instead of $215. So that is just a premium on selling put or call options. Before I tell you about the put option that I sold, I want to share with you the platform that I use, and that is Moomoo platform. Why did I choose them? I think I tried their AI. It's pretty good. It's quite intuitive compared to some other platforms that I've used. And I've played around with their platforms, both the app and the Windows version. I've kind of gotten hang of things quite easily. And I think most importantly, they had some promotions going on. So it was a sort of no-brainer for me. Now, here's the trade that I put in. I sold a put option on Nvidia stocks. And what I did was, I sold the put options with 7 days expiry. The delta was at 0.2019, meaning 20.19%. Now, I'm not going to talk about what delta is. If you're interested, I wrote a short description in the details below. The implied volatility was at 38.2%, and the strike price that I sold it was at $192.50. Oh, and I also top up 25,000 USD into my Moomoo platform in case I got assigned the Nvidia shares. So when I sold these put options, Nvidia's price was at around $201. That means I had about $8 or $9 buffer before I got assigned. So it was a little bit scary. But from selling this put option, I earned about $140 USD before fees. Now let's talk about the risk. So I told you my strike price was $192.50. If Nvidia dropped below that strike price, I would have to spend $19,250 to buy 100 Nvidia shares. Now the risk is this. Suppose the price of Nvidia keeps dropping further, let's say to $100. That would mean that I've made a paper loss of $9,250. So that is to just give you a taste of what the risk could be. So what happened during the week? Of course, with Murphy Law, my very first attempt, the price of NVIDIA had to drop. But thankfully, it didn't drop to $192.50. It was close, but at some point along the week, it rebounded. Now, one thing I wanted to share with you was my mental state. As NVIDIA's price drops, I wasn't really worried because number one, I was confident of NVIDIA, the stock. So I thought the chances of it dropping below $192 is low. Not impossible, just to me, it's low. And even if it did drop below my strike price, I was okay to hold on to 100 NVIDIA shares. The next thing I would do was then to just sell call options on the 100 NVIDIA shares and continue to earn premium. On that note, I wasn't really concerned when NVIDIA's price was falling near to my strike price. That is just my conviction. I'm not saying that NVIDIA's price will not drop, but that is how I thought about the whole situation. Eventually, NVIDIA's price did rebound above $200. I think as of this recording, it was at about $215. So my put options expired safely out of the money. And I get to keep the 140 USD premiums that I collected. The fees was about $3, so I get to keep about 137 USD. As of this recording, that would be about 173 Singapore dollars. Now, I want to share a little bit about my reflection over this past 1 week. It does sound like selling options could earn you weekly or monthly income. Sounds like it's very easy to do. But I think the more important thing is that I started to feel greed creeping in. You know, it's so easy to earn 137 USD. You just need to sell put options. I sort of got into that thinking that, you know, I could just keep doing this and just perpetually earn premiums. But I know that from my understanding of selling options, it's not that simple. Earlier, I told you my delta was at 0.2019. So that was about a 20% chance that I could get assigned NVIDIA shares. Now, I think that one of the things I want to do to manage the greed is to share this with my wife, to let her keep me in check so that I do not let greed take over and make decisions for me. So I think having someone to talk about it helps. We'll see how it goes. So that's it for this episode. I'm going to continue selling put options, continue to earn premiums. If this is something interesting to you and you want to find out how I fare selling options, do subscribe and like. I will share with you the wins, the losses, the mental upheavals, and more importantly, the actual numbers. So stay tuned.